One of the first steps required as you begin using DVAP-Base is to prepare the data that will populate the DVAP-Base dataset. You'll need to import your workforce and activity data from your HR system or other employee databases. You'll be exporting, at the very least, a list of all the employees active in the workforce on a particular date. Ideally, the day before the effective date of your affirmative action plan. So if your plan's effective date will be January 1st, you want your workforce to represent the employees active on December 31st. Usually you will also have available all the activities that took place in the year leading up to the effective date of the plan. That includes the applications, hires, promotions, transfers, terminations, and possibly accommodations. The key to a smooth transfer of data from your source systems into DVAP-Base is to correctly format each of these files before importing into DVAP-Base. And what makes a well-formatted import file? Well, if you avoid the following common mistakes, you'll be well on your way to having a perfectly formatted set of import files. CSV files only. DVAP-Base expects all of your import files to be CSV files, that is, comma-separated values. What is a CSV file? This is a simple text file where each line in the file is one record of information, and every line of data has exactly the same fields in the same order, separated by commas. The first line in the file is the header row. This line indicates the names of the fields in the file in the exact order that they appear on the rest of the lines. Most systems can export data as CSV files. Also, Excel can save any file as a CSV file as well. You could even write a CSV file by hand using Windows Notepad program, although if you have a lot of data, I wouldn't recommend it. One file for each type of data. Each type of data you import will be in its own separate CSV file. So if you import a full set of data into your DVAP-based dataset, you will have a workforce file, an applicant file, a hires file, a promotions file, a terminations file, a transfers file, an accommodations file, a prior year workforce file, and a related data file. Include the required fields. Provided with your DVAP-based installation are help documents, including a detailed list of all the supported fields that can be imported into DVAP-base and which of those fields are required. It is imperative that any fields that are marked as required in any files are present in the file and are populated with data. For example, employee ID and name are required in almost every import file. If you do not have these fields in the import files, DVAP-base will refuse to import the files. Leave out unnecessary fields. Your HR systems will likely have many more pieces of information about your employees and activities than are required by DVAP-base. Don't include these in your import files. If DVAP-base encounters a field in your files that it does not recognize, it will refuse to import the files. Correct header row. The first line in the CSV file is the header row. You must indicate the name of each field in your file on this line. And more importantly, you must use the exact field name that is specified in the Gerstco file format document. Using these exact field names is what allows DVAP-base to import your data with such speed and accuracy. If DVAP-base finds a field name in the header row that it does not recognize, it will refuse to import the file. Correct data types and coded fields. The Gerstco file format document indicates what type of data should be found in each field. Make certain that numeric fields only contain numbers, date fields contain valid dates, and coded fields contain valid codes. Now, what is a coded field? That is a field that only allows specific values. These indicate one of a limited set of possible values. For example, the race field only allows these specific values. If DVAP-base finds unknown values in a coded field, it will refuse to import the file. Surround commas with quotes. Now, if any fields contain information that includes a comma, make certain that the field is enclosed in quote marks. This prevents DVAP-base from thinking that the comma is separating two of the fields in the line. Most systems, including Excel, know how to enclose fields in quotes when there are commas in the data. If fields with commas are not quoted, DVAP-base will lose track of the number of fields in the line. Don't exceed maximum field lengths. In the Gerstco file format document, the maximum length allowed for each field is shown. Including data in your files that exceeds these maximums will result in errors when importing the data. Remove special characters. Some HR systems and even Excel can insert special characters into the CSV file. These are characters like non-breaking spaces, line feeds, and so on. In Excel, it's common to use Alt-Enter to make the text in a cell wrap. This can confuse other programs, including DVAP Base, when attempting to import the data. To remove these line breaks in Excel, perform a find and replace where you are looking for Alt-Enter and replacing it with a single space. You can specify the Alt-Enter character in the find and replace by holding down the Alt key and entering the numbers 010 on the numeric keypad. Data consistency. Since you will be importing multiple files into DVAP Base, it's important to be consistent with the data from file to file. Use the same job title names in each file, use the same job group names in each file, and if an employee appears in multiple files, their name and employee ID should be the same in each file. Check your dates. When you export the data from the source system, make certain you are exporting the information for the correct time frame. Make certain that the workforce export represents the employees on the selected date, and make certain all activity files contain the activities for the same date range. Follow these guidelines and you can avoid the most common errors in preparing your DVAP-based data. Then you can move on to use DVAP-based knowing your data is accurate and you are producing valid reports and analyses.